However, small tractor, not so much of a problem getting back there. Let's go. Alrighty. That was a total disaster. The problem is I can't hitch up to that like that. So let's try that again. There you go. All right. All right, that's better. So how is the mower? Not quite done yet, but I think we can tear all of this. So you're on the field, that's good. We'll do one headland. Okay. Hold on. Steering assist. Okay. And lower it. Turn it on. Do that and go drive. All right, so, hey. Hey. So yeah, at the very least, I'm planning on plowing create fields around every single field that I own. But in this case, I'm going to leave that field separate. I am going to plow us into this field in front of us. So we end up with a larger arable field. I'm also thinking next year's arable crop will be cotton on the interior fields at the farm. And we'll move grass onto the eastern edge of the map. There's 4 fields along that east wall. We'll do grass on all 4 of those. So I'll be able to do some hay, some silage, and just make our grass production a little bit more flexible. And then this field will just be part of what is currently the cornfield, although for the coming year it will be cotton. Oh, work has finished. So that's good. Yeah, because of the gastric issues I've been having, I haven't been to the basement in like 2-3 weeks. So, I think I need you out of the way. Shift and that will fold all the devices up. I am liking the farm stick more and more. It's, as with any control system, yeah, it takes a while to learn all the new stuff. But once you learn it all. Yeah, I'm still picking up. Oh, there's a way to do that. It usually starts off with, oh, I wish there was a way to extend the boom on a telehandler, or I wish I could fold up the implements on my tractor front and back at the same time, or turn them on at the same time, or lower them at the same time. And it actually, there is, you just need to figure out what the button combinations are to make that happen. I'm not really very good at looking at the this screen, and then I don't know. Oh, farm stick. What's button 52? I don't know. And some of those are joystick buttons or steering wheel buttons, and some are farm stick buttons. So it's like, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what all of these things do. So it usually ends up as, well, I'll just play around and push buttons at random and see if things, what things happen accidentally. And then, I figure these things out as I go. You do not want to go that way. I wanted you to go this way. Of course, you didn't feel like it. Now we go. Should end up fine. Tiny tractor does turn quite sharp. Now I do remember on earlier versions of FarmSim, obviously we're using the in-game GPS, but using mod GPS on some previous versions of Farming Simulator, what used to happen is you could end up, I'll turn it round like this, and okay, it wants to do the one on the left. I straighten the wheel up, and it would do the one on the right. It's like, oh, that's so annoying. But in-game GPS, little bit more what's the word for it? Consistent with how things work most of the time. Sometimes I do have issues where, I'm here, or not so much here. List that up. I'll come round to here, and I'll be lined up on that, and I'll engage it, and it will engage. Why am I rolling backwards? It'll engage on the headland track. It's like, I don't want to go down the headland track. I want to go down this road. But, yeah. Like I did it. Yeah, like it did earlier. Anyway. This thing rode up. It's the time, 9 o'clock in the morning, game time. So we got a lot of time to get the work done, which is good. And then, so we should get the grass finished today. I don't think it's going to take me as long as normal. And then next year in spring, we're going to have 4 grass fields, and I can do the one I need to now, type of thing, and then worry about the rest of them. I can get them done, I can set up a worker to cut them, I can TED a few on a worker, I can rake many, and then I can bail all of them eventually. I'm not going to be in too big of a hurry to get these things done. As I said, the big bonus I get is flexibility in production. It doesn't all have to be hay or all silage. I can do bits of one, bits of another. So this week I've got 2 doctor's appointments on Wednesday morning. They're far enough apart that they're not an issue, plus one's across the road from the other one. They're not in the same building, but just need to cross the road, and that's good. So one is my usual GP checkup. Don't know if there's anything serious going on. And then the other one is my back specialist. And she had some alternatives to the steroid injection I've been getting. I had one because it's, it works within 2 weeks and it lasts a few months. So it gets, the pain is enough. I can get a reasonable night's sleep. I'm not entirely having great sleep, but I am at least sleeping through most of the night when it's comfortable. So that's a good thing. And then but she's got another alternative which is something like that, but a completely new team's working on it. So I would have to have a what's the word for it? A consult with that team. And the other option is to have surgery on my back, which will actually address what's causing the pain. But that might not be an eligible thing. So, I have to go and consult with the, who are they? The surgical team. And they'll review my situation and say, this is serious enough to have surgery, or not serious enough to have surgery. And then depending on their what's the word for it, their opinions, another avenue might be possible. But at least for now, I'm not in extreme pain because the steroid has worked. Also, the immediate effects of the steroid boost, throwing your blood sugar into orbit, has subsided. So my blood sugar is now back to a manageable level, which is good. And then I also have to tell her that the painkiller she gave me for long-term use is not good. Side effects include making a mess of your digestive tract. And it did in a big way. So I'm not taking that anymore. I don't know if I need another option now I've had the steroid injection. But it's definitely not something I want to consider using in the future. Talking to my mum about it last week, we had a call, transatlantic call, and she asked what I was on, so I grabbed the bottle, looked at it, and told her and said, "Oh, it sounds like a Klingon penal world." So things are progressing slowly. Hopefully. And unfortunately, well, the other reason I haven't done an awful lot on the railway or the railway modelling in the last month is because the ground has been covered in snow. So is the deck, which is above the patio, which is where I do all my wood cutting. So I couldn't take power tools outside because one, snow, two, when it got warm, one, cold. I don't want to be outside cutting wood at 3 degrees Fahrenheit. I can do 20, but 3, it's kind of, no, you have to wrap up with loads of clothes, and I don't really want to be wrapped up in loads of clothes when I'm trying to do fine work with power tools, because you can get your clothes stuck in power tools or whatever. So there's all that. Then, of course, when it got warm enough to be outside, the snow on the deck's melting and dripping down. You don't really want snow melt dripping on your power tools, because that's a recipe for disaster. So couldn't do anything then. And then I was looking at it and thought, well, maybe the end of this week I can go out and use power tools on the patio. And unfortunately, it decided, we've had, probably about 2 weeks of no precipitation. So no more snow. It was cold enough, and it got warm enough. The snow has all melted. The deck is clear, and it decided to rain for the remainder of the week. So no power tools outside again. This is one of the reasons why it kind of took so long to get it all started. Was I'd started building the bench work, and I'd been, on dry days I could go out, cut the wood, leave it stacked in the basement, and then I can just, as and when I can assemble it, and not a big problem. And I got halfway through assembling the benches down one side, and then during a particularly major rainstorm discovered actually the basement's leaking, and electric model trains and water leaking in the basement do not mix well. So again, it's like, okay, we need to find out where the water's coming from. We need to figure out how to fix that. Initially, we thought it was pushing its way up. The basement's got metal support, almost scaffolding rods, which that's where the water was pooling. So we thought, well, maybe the bolt that they're screwed into the floor with has gone all the way through the concrete and into the dirt below, and the rainwater, when there's a huge storm, will sort of force its way up through there. But no, it turned out it's leaking through the walls. Eventually we actually caught it that I was down there while it was raining, and you could see streams of water coming from the front wall. So we had to call out a basement repair company, and they took a look and said, we don't block the water, we just catch it and divert it to a sump pump and then pump it out of the building. Because if you seal up the cracks that are there, the water will just find more cracks to work its way through. So you'll be fighting a never-ending battle of, yes, we fixed those cracks, and either we didn't fix them well enough that the water's just pushed its way through the cracks again, or it's just found some other weak spot and is now leaking through that. So by allowing the water into your basement and then having kind of an absorbent barrier on the wall, what ends up happening is that traps the water. It's held against the wall down to a trench, and the trench is inclined so that the water flows in one direction, ends up in the sump pump, and when the sump pump's full enough, it just pumps the rain out. So nice system, and it works really well. So we've got that going on. And now we don't have water problems where the model trains are. I could then get back into building the rest of the bench work that I'd already cut the beams for. And so progress was made last year, except then I had back issues which were getting progressively worse. And crawling under model railway benches is not easy when you're in a lot of pain. So work kind of slowed down at the end of the middle of last year through to the end. And I've done a couple of things this year, but I'm still being a little bit fragile. But hopefully from March I will be able to get down there and crawl under things and actually do work. Plus it's getting warmer, plus we should end up with a few days with no rain that I can actually cut the bits of wood I need to cut. So I continue with the track bed and what have you. So we'll see how that all works out. I think the goal for this year, at least the stated goal for this year now, is to get the station area complete. Not the freight yard, just the station area complete. So I need platforms, I need buildings, I might need to put lights in and people and all sorts of things like that. But the station area complete so I can at least park trains off the main line. After that, it's kind of a work your way round, and it'll be do bits at a time. So I might work on the freight yard, I might work on the countryside, I don't know. But the more bits that I have available at the moment, the station area needs to be complete before I can even consider starting